Three different things, those 19s for CSC and pandering. Can Mr. Strickland or did someone respond as
no, and no.
Donovan, did you have her on this side of the guardrail, please? In a suitcase, or did you bring her all the way down here?
All the way down.
All the way down here? Okay.
She was going somewhere. She would definitely pack her makeup. That's here. This looks like what would be her purse.
In late June 2018, police were called to check on 24-year-old Western Michigan University student Ania Mack after she suddenly stopped answering her phone, missed work, and cut off contact with friends. Inside her Kalamazoo apartment, nothing looked like a typical crime scene, but the details were disturbing. Lights and TV left on, the bathtub filled with water, rugs and men's clothing spinning in the wash, and even her car sitting outside with its license plate swapped. At first, there were no clear signs of foul play, until investigators uncovered a chilling confession that revealed jealousy, betrayal, and a shocking secret that no one close to Ania ever saw coming. Today's case begins with what seemed like a routine, if worrying, police response to a missing persons report. But from there, it quickly spiraled into something no one could have predicted. In the early morning hours of Thursday, June 28, 2018, officers with the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety were dispatched to the Hunter Ridge Apartments in West Michigan. The complex was off-campus housing for Western Michigan University students, a multi-story building tucked behind a small parking lot, where young people balanced college life with work, classes, and friendships. Officers were there looking for 24-year-old Ania Mack, a psychology major at Western Michigan University. Ania, known simply as Nia to her friends, hadn't been seen or heard from since the previous Sunday. For someone like her, this was beyond unusual. Nia was vibrant, deeply social, and constantly on the move. In high school, she had been the kind of student everyone knew, an honor roll achiever, student council member, cheerleader, volleyball player, softball athlete, and a proud member of both the marching and concert bands. She also competed in the Health Occupation Students of America program, showing her early interest in healthcare and service. By college, she carried that same energy forward, singing in her church choir, dancing with WMU's all-girls dance team, and throwing herself into her psychology studies. Friends say Nia never let more than a few hours go by without checking in. Missing several days of calls, texts, and social media activity? That was unthinkable. Her close friend LaQuenta Lenta Watson was the first to raise the alarm. The two spoke nearly every day, and when calls started going straight to voicemail, Lenta immediately knew something was wrong. Her concern deepened when she checked with Nia's new employer, the Great Lakes Center for Autism Treatment and Research, where Nia had just landed her dream job only 3 months earlier. To everyone's shock, staff told Lenta that Nia had failed to show up for work 2 days in a row. For someone who was so proud of finally getting a position where she could help children with autism, this was impossible to believe. By then, the worry spread to others. Childhood friend Dominic Thomas connected with Nia's mother, Loretta, who was living in Louisiana. Loretta hadn't heard from her daughter either, and the silence was setting off alarms. Together with Lenta, Dominic reached out to police, and the group met officers outside Hunter Ridge Apartments to start the search. If you're into true crime stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. It helps us keep bringing you more.
When was the last time you were here before?
This morning I came back from work around like 6 and I went to the movies and I came back here.
When's the last time you saw her?
Not before Saturday. I left home for graduation. I graduated Saturday.
Okay.
And then this is her room right here. But someone was here today because they turned on the air and they put some clothes in the washer. So when I was gone, like I thought maybe she came. But
Have you seen her boyfriend around here?
I haven't seen anybody, honestly. But I left for the weekend, so I thought maybe she just went home. But I really haven't seen her.
Nothing looks out of the ordinary in here. Obviously, boyfriend probably this day.
Roberto, go check mom's boyfriend's mom's place. Do we have a phone number for boyfriend?
I don't know if there's roommate. Probably one in the eyelids too, or from him.
Yeah, let's check with the roommate, see if maybe he's got something.
Okay. Like if she was going somewhere, she would definitely pack her makeup. That's here. This looks like what would be her purse. A bag that she do her hair stuff with. That's here. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck?
When investigators arrived, one of the first things they noticed was Nia's white 2008 Chevy Malibu parked in the lot. But something wasn't right. Her license plates were missing. Just a few spaces away, another nearly identical Malibu sat abandoned, this one with Nia's plates attached. That second car, however, wasn't hers. It was registered to a man named Gustavo. Even stranger, both cars had flat tires and were undrivable. From the outside, Nia's apartment showed signs of life. A light glowed through the window, the television buzzed in the background, and the air conditioner had clearly been turned on. But no one answered the door. Friends filled officers in on more context. Nia had been dating 25-year-old Donovan Lewis, known to many as Donovan, Donnie, or sometimes just Don. Their relationship had been rocky, with tension and arguments over the years. Police already had records of domestic disturbances involving the two. Donovan's background, on the surface, seemed fairly ordinary. He had once played basketball at community college and worked as a YMCA lifeguard. He even interned briefly at a multimedia company while staying with his brother in Indianapolis. But by the time of Nia's disappearance, he had returned to Kalamazoo and was taking whatever work he could find, most recently a night shift janitorial job at a local manufacturing plant. When Nia's roommate arrived to unlock the apartment for police, she explained that she and Nia weren't especially close. They had only been assigned as roommates less than a year earlier, and it wasn't unusual for them to go days without crossing paths. That complicated things. If Nia hadn't been seen in several days, her roommate couldn't say for sure when she had last been in the apartment. A cursory search inside revealed no immediate evidence of violence. There were no broken doors, no blood, no overturned furniture. But there were odd details, small things that investigators couldn't ignore. In the bathroom Nia used, the bathtub was filled to the brim with water, as though she had drawn a bath but never stepped inside. Items like her purse, makeup, and personal effects were still neatly in place. Her car keys were unaccounted for. And in the washing machine, investigators found men's clothing and rugs, items still damp from a wash cycle that had been run not long before. At first glance, there was no clear proof of foul play. But the oddities didn't sit right, and everyone who knew Nia kept repeating the same thing. This wasn't her. She would never vanish without a word, abandon her job, or leave her friends and family in the dark. Something was wrong. As investigators pieced through the scene at Hunter Ridge Apartments, one detail stood out immediately. Someone besides Ania's roommate had been in the home. The air conditioning had been turned on, though it was not usually used. A load of laundry was running in the washing machine. Inside were men's clothing and 2 teal bathroom rugs. Yet in the bathroom Ania used, the one where the bathtub had been left filled with water, there were no floor mats at all. Police also noted that many of Ania's personal belongings, items she would never leave behind if she planned to travel, were still sitting neatly in her bedroom. Makeup, purse, even her work supplies were untouched.
Yeah, somebody definitely came in today, for sure. Because when I left, the air wasn't on.
Does her boyfriend ever come over here and do any laundry or anything?
Yeah, they always do laundry together.
Okay.
So it's not like out of the ordinary.
Does he have a key?
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. Like somebody was here because I don't think he has a key. Usually if he's coming, like I'll leave the door unlocked. Like if I know he's here, or like she'll leave the door unlocked. I don't even see her keys.
And then there was the bizarre situation with the 2 Chevy Malibus. Ania's own car sat outside, its license plate stripped off, and a second, nearly identical Malibu, registered to another man, had her plates bolted onto it. Both cars had flat tires, making them useless for travel. If Ania had voluntarily left, how exactly had she gone anywhere? The officers left the apartment with conflicting impressions. On one hand, there were no clear, immediate signs of foul play, no forced entry, no visible blood. But the strange inconsistencies were impossible to ignore. Something was not right. The focus quickly turned toward Ania's boyfriend, 25-year-old Donovan Lewis. Friends told police that Donovan, like everyone else, had been trying to reach Ania since Sunday with no luck. Calls went unanswered. Childhood friend Dominic Thomas and close friend LaQuenta both said Donovan seemed worried, but his own history with Ania made them uneasy. Their relationship had long been marked by tension and arguments, some of which had already drawn police attention in the past. Officer Libretto tracked down an address for Donovan's mother's home and paid a visit, but no one came to the door. Later that evening, Ania's godsister Lawenda phoned Officer Lockett with a crucial tip. Donovan had been working the overnight janitorial shift at Stryker Medical Equipment Company, and his shift would end at 3:30 a.m. He was expected to return to Ania's apartment afterward. Sure enough, That night, officers returned to Hunter Ridge Apartments and spotted Donovan. When they approached, he was calm, cooperative, even willing to talk. But detectives weren't yet assigned, so officers kept their questions surface level. Still, they quickly decided to place him under arrest for questioning. As Donovan sat in the back of the cruiser, he began to talk more freely, offering scattered details that hinted the case was about to take a dark turn. What had started as a possible missing persons report was now veering into homicide territory. Officer Lockett drove Donovan to the station, keeping small talk going to build rapport. As the conversation deepened, Donovan began to share surprising accusations. He told officers that while going through Ania's phone, he discovered intimate text messages between her and Pastor Strickland, the well-known leader of Second Baptist Church in Kalamazoo.
I went through her phone. She tussled with me about her phone. She died on her phone. Kind of got in like a fetal position with all her knees in her hands and saw that it was a pastor. I saw what he said. And, she kind of just gave up and gave the phone. And the whole time she was laughing, grinning. When she gave the phone, she was grinning and laughing. Because she know, okay, if I do make that accusation, she could have that reaction that she had. Just think about that after we find out it's fun.
Not only was Strickland a married man, he was also the local NAACP president, a highly respected community figure. Donovan said he believed Ania and the pastor were physically involved, and that she had even begun blackmailing him for money. According to Donovan, the pastor had been covering Ania's rent and phone bills, and had even given her the second Malibu to drive. He said tensions between him and Ania escalated after she admitted this arrangement, claiming she threatened to expose the affair. Donovan alleged that Strickland had also threatened Ania, warning her to keep quiet. By Donovan's account, the breaking point came on Sunday, June 24, 2018. He had been drinking heavily and had spent much of the night obsessively scrolling through Ania's phone. One particular text from Pastor Strickland sent him into a rage. When Ania confronted him, she told Donovan to leave her apartment for good. She even grabbed one of his suitcases and began packing his belongings to drive the point home. That, Donovan told detectives, is when he snapped. He admitted striking Ania, knocking her unconscious. From there, the violence escalated. He retrieved a large kitchen knife, returned to the bedroom, and slit her throat before stabbing her multiple times. He then placed a garbage bag over her head and stuffed her body into the same suitcase she had been packing. Donovan confessed that he initially placed the suitcase in a dumpster outside the visitor parking lot. But later, under cover of darkness, he retrieved it using his mother's van. He drove to Comstock Creek, near East Main and Sprinkle Road, where he dragged the suitcase into the water. To keep it submerged, he packed mud and debris around it before pushing it into the current. By the time detectives arrived to take his full statement, Donovan had already begun writing out a complete confession. The details were chilling, and while some elements, like the extent of Ania's relationship with Pastor Strickland, remain disputed to this day, there was no doubt about one thing. Donovan had murdered Ania Mack in her own apartment and tried to hide her body in a creek bed.
It's a little bit sloped right there. Now, Donovan, did you have her on this side of the guardrail, please? In a suitcase, or did you bring her all the way down here?
All the way down.
All the way down here? Okay, so you wheel her in the suitcase all the way down here? Okay. And you park back up by where the SUV is? And how do you where the white truck is? 10 feet that way. And how do you get her in the water? You just put her in the suitcase into the water. Okay, and this is the right spot?
So,
Okay, where do you want these guys to go?
straight.
Straight down?
Switch sides. The sun's not making.
Sure, no problem.
Investigators began picking apart the details Donovan Lewis provided, and many of them didn't line up. For example, they questioned how the murder could have occurred without much blood in Ania's apartment. On first look, there were no major signs of a violent struggle. But upon closer inspection, small yet telling stains appeared, in the hallway, on the edge of Ania's bed, and on the bedroom carpet. Cleaning products in the unit had also been used already, suggesting someone tried to scrub surfaces. Donovan had also disposed of a mattress cover in the apartment dumpster, which, by the time law enforcement searched it, was already collected. He removed the bath mats and put them into the washing machine. Some of his own clothes ended up at his mother's home. Ania's purse, ID, and bank cards were thrown away in a bin near his workplace. Only fragments of this evidence were ever recovered, making it harder to piece the timeline together. Beyond just the physical evidence, detectives dug deeper into Donovan's narrative, and especially his claims about Pastor Strickland. The pastor firmly denied any romantic relationship with Ania, saying she was simply a member of his congregation and sang in the church choir. When pressed, Donovan admitted Ania had never straight out confessed to an affair, but he said she was manipulating Strickland financially. Pastor Strickland told police that Ania had recently traveled with him and other choir members on a trip to Mississippi. While there, the pastor says she met a young man, began a relationship with him, and hid that person's contact info under Strickland's name in her phone, apparently so that when her boyfriend, Donovan, saw the communicator list, he would think contact was from the pastor and not be suspicious. Then there was the question of the white 2008 Malibu. The pastor later asked police for the car to be returned to him. He claimed it was his wife's vehicle, purchased from someone named Gustavo, but crucially he could not provide a title or bill of sale. Ownership was never proven and the car was not returned. But the pastor's legal troubles didn't end there. In 2023, Strickland was sentenced to 1 year in jail after entering a plea deal in a sex crimes case. The charge was facilitation of travel services for the purpose of prostitution, related to allegations that he paid teenage boys to engage in sex acts with his wife. As part of that deal, he avoided registering as a sex offender and probation. Even with all this, some parts of Donovan's story remain unverified. And despite the confession, the inconsistencies made certain elements debated. Was everything he said true, or was some of it an attempt to frame a motive that fit the worst fears of those investigating? After the suitcase was pulled from Comstock Creek, investigators plunged into deeper questions. According to Donovan Lewis, he had tossed the suitcase containing Ania into deeper muddy water, hoping the stream would hide all evidence. Searchers attempted to comb the channel but could not safely wade in. Instead, they used a rescue boat, scanning along banks and water edges. Though they could see areas that seemed reachable by boat, they repeatedly hit shallow or overgrown parts, making access difficult. Once the suitcase was recovered, the hunt for the murder weapon began. Donovan had told police that the black-handled butcher knife used in the killing was nearby, jammed into the creek bank just feet from where the suitcase lay, he said. After clearing several feet of vegetation, search teams still could not locate the knife. Despite that, Ania's family found some closure when they were finally able to lay her to rest. But the drama was far from over. Just 3 days before Donovan Lewis was scheduled to stand trial on the first-degree murder charge, something shocking happened. While in the recreation yard of the Kalamazoo County Jail, playing a game of soccer with other inmates, he suddenly dropped the ball, bolted for the fence, and made his escape. He scaled 2 15-foot fences, first one topped with barbed wire, another with razor wire, then a third fence separating the jail from a busy business strip. It took about 30 minutes before he was captured. When recaptured, Donovan claimed he wasn't fleeing justice but running from threats being made toward his family, though no credible proof of those threats ever surfaced in court. He pleaded guilty to the escape charge. Then came sentencing. On October 28, 2019, Donovan Lewis pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was given 25 to 40 years in prison for Ania's death. He is also serving time for the escape charge, 17 months to 4 years, and both sentences are to run consecutively. Pastor Strickland's name continued to surface in media reports and allegations, but many of those claims remain hotly disputed or unproven in court.
Pastor Strickland is here. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's been here throughout this. He remains pastor at Second Baptist.
3 different things. Those 19s for CSC and pandering. Can Mr. Strickland or did someone respond as
No, and no. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. Didn't do it, didn't do it, didn't do it.
But given your role at the church, is it typical for you to give teens, boys in the community money?
Well, there are a lot of programs through the church that help kids out.
But does Pastor Strickland personally give kids money himself?
I don't know of any situation where that has happened.
Meanwhile, community reaction has been intense. Ania's family and friends, still grieving, demanded maximum responsibility, saying no sentence can bring Ania back. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next video.